Yes, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jack Farmer, and this is the Evolution of Movies show. I'm not alone. As always, I'm joined by the guy who, if you date their ex-girlfriend, they will wreck you. It's Andy Rossi, and if you're on the live version of this, the video version, it's not Chris Bosch here with us. It's actually James Shippey. How you guys doing? James, that's James Bosch. How about you go first?
I know. I wish I had some Chris Bosch money. Let me make that clear, right? I think we all do. But
Yeah.
look, the struggle is real. As I was telling you, I've got a newborn. I've got maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleep last night, and that wasn't 3 hours in a row. So I'm kind of in the corner in our apartment waiting for family to come by because we're doing some stuff at the house. So this is the avatar I could find. And yeah, let's go. Let's play ball.
I wish we had that Bosch money too.
Yeah. The production value would be a little bit higher on the show, I can tell you that.
Yes, it would.
Much. But so if you're new to the show, this is how the show works. What we do is we watch a movie and then we break it all down and chat about it. But we call it the evolution of movies because we always watch a movie from a year after the last movie we watched. So we started in 1990, went to 91, then 92. Now we're all the way in 2010. That means next week's episode is going to be 2011. But for now, let's talk about 2010, a time when movies were all about the inner psyche of its characters. Movies like Black Swan, Shutter Island, and of course, MacGruber. But we aren't talking about any of those. We're talking about Scott Pilgrim versus the World, a movie IMDb describes as in a magically realistic version of Toronto, a young man must defeat his new girlfriend's 7 evil exes one by one in order to win her heart. And it's a movie Roger Ebert did not review, so we do not have a star rating for it.
He was busy doing MacGruber.
He was busy. He had to watch that multiple times. I saw MacGruber in theaters. I do not regret it. James, had you seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World before? And what were your thoughts going into it this time around?
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I was telling my wife I had seen this movie multiple times. Like I'll be honest, I don't really almost lost count. I'm actually a huge fan of the director Edgar Wright. He directed one of my favorite zombie films, Shaun of the Dead, years before. So I became a huge fan of his after that. But yeah, I had seen it before and I was like, okay, let's see it again. I had tried to watch it earlier this year, but something came up so I couldn't finish it. But yeah, it was fun to revisit it.
Yeah. And Andy, interesting premise, interesting setup to this whole movie. Did you see it beforehand and kind of thoughts this time around?
Well, funny story. I thought this was Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. So I was like, oh, I think I was watching with my wife. I'm like, Kat Dennings is in this, I think. And then Scott Pilgrim starts and I go, what is this? So I have definitely never watched this. I was very confused what was happening. Enjoyed it. But yeah, I had no idea what this was. So yeah, I've never seen it before.
I saw it when it came out. I haven't seen it since then, but I am a huge fan of anything with over-the-top stuff in it. Anything that says we're going to turn the volume up to 11, I'm a fan of. And that's what this movie did. Also, friend of the show, I should say, Flobo Boyce. It's one of his favorite movies, so I thought it'd be fun to revisit it and watch it.
Nice.
So, Flobo, this one's going out
we
to
love you, Flobo.
Yeah, you represent 1/3 of our viewers.
My man, FB.
Keep watching, buddy.
He may represent one of our viewers.
Yeah,
100%.
100%. Speaking of viewers, if you do watch the show, listen to the show, whether it be on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, thank you so much. Please leave us a review, a comment, a like, a share, a subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave a comment on Apple Podcasts, by the way. We could use some 5-star reviews over there if you don't mind. I'm getting angry. Give me a review already. Give me 5 stars. That's what I do it for. It's how I pay my bills, with the 5 stars. But let's talk about this movie. Let's break it down. We start in Toronto, and Scott Pilgrim is dating a high schooler named Knives, and it's kind of weird, but she shows up to watch Scott and the guys jam out before Scott heads home, and the word spreads that Scott is dating a high schooler, and no one seems to approve of it. But the couple are all over a DDR machine, and we find out that Scott's ex was a bad breakup. At the library with Knives, Scott sees John McClane's daughter. He finds her at a party and drops the best pickup line, and it fails. So he snoops around about her, and everyone thinks she's the coolest person ever. After deciding he's in love, he gets an email about a fight to the death, but he's too busy waiting for an Amazon package in hopes it's Ramona as he considers breaking up with Knives. That's kind of the intro, setting the stage to this movie. James, I always like to ask you this question to start things off. Tell us about this world that they have built for us and the characters in it.
Yeah, well, if you had seen this in the theaters, or I guess last night for Andy, or yesterday, or whenever you watched it, I mean, the film lets you know what kind of world it's going to live in when the credits start, right? You know, when you see the Universal, that iconic Universal logo, it's like kind of in like a Nintendo-y kind of vibe, right? And whenever characters are being introduced, it like I say, it's like a video game movie. Although I know this is adapted from a graphic novel, Scott Pilgrim. There's a lot of video game references to this. So you'll like see someone's name, their age, and like, you know, what they do, whether they're the drummer or the roommate and stuff like that. So the film is having fun in that sense, and it's very musically driven. Another thing Edgar Wright is kind of known for, with the quick cuts in the music. As far as character stuff, I'm sorry you had mentioned about him waiting for that Amazon package. Isn't that so old school? Like the way he's waiting for it. I mean, even on the old school computer they have, you know, I don't know. It's just kind of funny. It just seems like, oh, that's Amazon from back in the day, not like how it is now, right?
Yeah, the aging of this movie is very weird, because even how he's kind of not sure how the Amazon works and things like that. Like, what's the website for Amazon and things like that, where you're like,
Yeah.
wow, that was 10 years ago. That would even be a thing. Because if you did that today, if a 22-year-old kid acted like he didn't know what Amazon was,
Yeah.
you'd be like, where have you been living in a bunker somewhere? Why don't you know what this is?
Yeah, you'd be looking for his parents. Like, okay, what did you guys do with this child? Right.
Right. Which is, it's crazy that Amazon changed everything so fast, because this movie isn't that old. It's so weird. But Andy, this movie, and I'm sure huge fans of the show or of the movie and where it came from are going to get mad at me. I'm probably getting this wrong, but from what I understand, having done zero research, is that this is a movie based off of a graphic novel, which was kind of based off of a video game. So it feels like there are kind of 3 layers of reference points. And you kind of see that within the movie itself, where you can kind of see comic book reference, or I guess graphic novel reference, video game reference, and things like that. Did this lose you? Did you like how these were all incorporated? Did it make it fun? All this different stuff?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I said, I had no idea what this was. So it's like Nintendo music in the movie. I'm like, what is this? A movie for nerds? But yeah, like James said, I love Edgar Wright too. So I loved all the quick cuts, and I really enjoyed all like the madness and the, you know, in the beginning, I was kind of like, what is happening? But I liked it. So I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm supposed to know, like you were just saying, like the backstory. Was this a comic? Was this a video game? I have no idea. But for me, I was just along for the ride. And I thought it was like a very cool start. And the cast that they list, like I was just like, this person's in it. That person's in it. Chris Evans, Anna Kendrick, Brie Larson. Like they just kept naming these people in the
I totally
the
forgot
credit.
that Brie Larson was in this movie.
Yeah.
Or like half the people. Kieran Culkin is in
Yeah,
this, you know, if you're a
he's great.
Succession fan or any other stuff he's done over the years, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was awesome seeing that opening credits.
I was going to say about Kieran, if you were to say who the bigger star is it Macaulay or is it Kieran? Because I feel
Now
like
it's Kieran.
obviously Macaulay has the biggest movie with Home Alone, but
Of course.
I feel like Kieran has just been in a lot of stuff since then.
Yeah.
Like, very consistent.
It's weird with him because Macaulay, he might be like more famous, quote unquote, right? Because of the Home Alone movies. But Kieran is kind of, like I said, he's more of that working actor. You know, you see his face more. So yeah, it's kind of a weird place. Like, who's more famous or who's more seen in a weird way. But Macaulay Culkin is part of, like, I don't know what the right word is, like the lexicon of film. The child actor in that sense. But yeah, other than that, he's just kind of, he's a chill dude. He doesn't, do much.
Right. So, he's got that Home Alone money. He doesn't need to worry anymore.
It is great though how him and Michael Cera sleep in the same bed. I don't know why. I just think that's funny. And with Michael Cera, he looks so little to me that in the beginning when they said he's dating a 17-year-old, I was like, oh, okay. He looks. I thought
nothing
he was
to
17.
see here.
I'm like, oh, he is 17.
Right, but they say it's such a weird, because he's 22. Like, that is kind of old to be dating a high schooler.
Kinda.
It is.
If you had a daughter, well, I don't know, she's 17. She's almost out of the house, but still, if she brought some dude that's like a senior in college, you'd be like, wait a second,
But her name's Knives.
No, it's because
she
makes the comment that her dad is 9 years older than her mom.
Of course.
But then, of course, you think about the age gap is different as you get older.
Of course. Is her dad 50 and her mom's 41? That's a little different.
That's okay.
Right.
And one part I wanted to mention that, because I didn't, like I said, I'm so glad that these last two movies, I haven't done anything beforehand. I just like start watching them and go, what am I watching?
That's the best way.
But yeah, talk about dated. He's got an AOL email address when he checks his email. And what I didn't understand, the emails from a guy, like I said, I don't know what's happening, but it's like, I want to meet you for a duel and I want to fight you to the death. And Michael Cera goes, boring. And I'm like, wait a minute, I kind of want to know about this email.
But isn't that how all those, remember back in those days, you'd get those like chain emails that you'd say, these are stupid, I'm just going to delete them. Now Gmail filters them all out so you don't see them. But remember, you used to get random emails where you're like, this is fake.
You're talking about the ones I'm located in, some small sub-Saharan African country.
Right.
If you could just, donate some money to me. I actually think they're making a movie about that. I forgot.
This one was more specific though. This guy literally was saying, my name is whatever, Matthew Patel.
Dear Scott.
I will fight you.
But hey, he's got to get the Amazon delivery. And they go, I love
he's so focused.
The pure optimism of like, I'm going to order from Amazon and it'll be the one Amazon employee.
Yeah.
Again, a different mindset now, because now you'd be like, half the world is probably working for Amazon.
I love the Amazon specificity, because of course, in different countries, you do get like those different 2 letters for the country. Like, so Amazon.ca, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember when I was in Brazil, I was Amazon.br, or even like Yahoo.br or Yahoo.ca. So I thought that's kind of a nice touch, and obviously being very specific with that. But what about the other stuff? And I don't know about you guys. Were some things dated in this movie? And we'll talk more about it with some of the character stuff, but even some of the references to like Knives Child, they always had to like make sure to reference that she was Asian and stuff like that. And at the time, I didn't really think much of it, but now I think because of, everything's a little more woke now, I don't know how it like comes off. I mean, obviously it's a fun movie, but I don't know if those things, if anyone is that like kind of catch anyone's attention.
Knives got a lot of that references to her.
Kung Pao chicken. Someone has said that at one point. I was like, okay, I don't know about that. Maybe back then that may have been kind of funny, but
there were a few where I was like, ooh, that didn't age the greatest. But let's continue on. Scott's band enters a battle of the bands, and Scott continues to dream about his dream girl, and she shows up to deliver the package, and he asks out Ramona Flowers. They hang out at a park, but she takes him to her place to make out. This gets him a second date where she checks him out at Battle of the Bands, and Knives shows up, and Scott runs away, which is probably the right thing to do in that situation. The band plays, and we get our first fight. Matthew Patel shows up, and Scott smokes him because he's actually pretty tough for a wiry fella. But we also get some storytelling of Ramona and her first relationship. And this is where we learn that Scott has to beat 7 guys to date her. Andy, this chick just ain't worth it. Right? Am I crazy?
I mean,
I feel
damn,
like
that's cold.
Matthew Patel jumps through the ceiling. I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I haven't even broke up with Knives yet. I'm just like, I haven't
Okay.
fully committed to this. I'm done.
Please,
Totally.
Andy, because I've got a lot to say about this.
Well, I mean, okay, so this is where I'm like, what in the world is this movie? Like, I was very thrown off. All of a sudden, there's like this dude, he's got to fight him. Then he goes into a dance number. I was just like, what in the world? What is this? I was so confused. I'm like, is this really happening? Is this in his head? Even in the dating stuff, they're like floating. And don't they have like a bunch of tea or something? So it's like, I'm like, and all the flashing back and forth.
Constant comments, I think, was one of the tea flavors. I could be wrong.
Oh, and that I got to give her credit for that. Her naming all those teas was really impressive.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure that was that was pretty.
There's just so much going on here, and like I think the climax of this scene is the Matthew Patel fight. But up until then, there is just a lot of fun. Like there's like when he goes to pee, there's like a pee bar that I thought that was really clever. And then Michael Cera is just so great with deadpan comedy. Like he says something to get out of that situation. He says something. I think I wrote it down. He's like, I gotta go. He says like something like, I guess I didn't write it down. Sorry. But he says, I gotta go pee on that girl or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because in his mind there was like the spinning arrow. And it was like, I gotta go pee, and I don't know that girl.
Yeah.
And,
that was perfect.
And it went between them, so he said, I have to go pee on that girl.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That was my first laugh out loud. Like, come on, man. That was a really great comic bit.
Yeah, but James, you handled Matthew Patel because I was just in stun mode. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, and it's funny because I've seen this movie so many times, but yeah, it's a certain pacing. I mean, it's already kind of crazy, but yeah, once Matthew Patel jumps through the roof, I was like, oh, like it always jolts you to like, oh, I forgot about this part of the film. But I just want to go back to, first of all, I like Knives Child. She is like the sweetest.
Yes.
Youngest, probably shouldn't be with this guy girlfriend you could ever have. She's adorable. She's supportive. She's all these great things. And look, and you said this with this worth it stuff. And this is my only problem with the film. The film actually is just great. The execution of it, the video gamey stuff, the comic booky stuff. But I have a hard time buying because why is he so smitten by Ramona Flowers besides how she looks, I'm assuming, for him? Because she seems kind of bored by him. There must be something very special about this Ramona Flowers. She's got all these dudes like dueling to the death over her. But I just really, as we see movies, I wouldn't call this a romantic comedy, but in most romance films or when there's a relationship, you really are rooting for the couple to get together. It's always normally unrequited, or they get together and they break up. And I just really didn't catch that chemistry or like the reason why he's going through all this trouble to try and be with her personally. And I didn't catch that before. Before, when I've seen this a few times, I'm just there for the ride. But now I guess as I was watching this, critiquing it or casually critiquing it, that kind of stuck out to me. I don't know what you guys thought about that.
No, I agree. I was actually thinking like when he spoiler alert, he fights 2 twins later and there's some dragons involved. But when he's like getting to that, like what is that, 5, 6 of the exes, I was kind of like, is she really worth it? Like they didn't seem to like really like each other that much. He wasn't. And same. I didn't really like see exactly. And Knives gets a little crazy later, but yeah, she's like, I don't see what's wrong with her except for the age, obviously. But yeah, I wasn't on board exactly with why he needed to fight all these guys for Ramona. She has a cool name though, Ramona Flowers.
Of course, and cool hair, obviously.
Very cool hair, yeah.
Yes.
Listen, doing shows like this, it's all about strong opinions. So I'm putting my foot down. I am Team Knives. I didn't understand this the whole time. Team Knives was so cool she was supportive. She was always there for him. She was his biggest cheerleader. She liked him. She was in every way doing the right things as a significant other. And Ramona sucked. She was just difficult the whole time. Everything was difficult. She never seemed to care. You have to fight 7 dudes. And what if he loses? Is he now is it now my 8 ex-boyfriends? Now he's stuck in this hell where he has to fight new boyfriends for the rest of time? I don't know.
Wow.
Ramona doesn't seem worth it at any point to me. I'm mad, you guys. I'm mad about this.
I agree, though. I think the only thing stopping Michael Cera and Knives was that age. So if he would have just maybe waited a year, we would have been.
You're right.
It would have been fine.
And then Ramona, I mean, I was like, oh wow, he's about to smash already. Like it was so fast. And then she gave, she did like the thing that most dudes dread. I mean, they're just about, she's like, you know what? I don't feel like it, let's just lay here. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just funny. It's just with her character. She's just kind of doing that the whole movie. It's man, she's cold.
They did, I think, if we're just talking about as a character, they did build her up during that party scene where he's talking to all the people about her, kind of sell us on the fact that she's supposed to be a very cool person. Everyone loves her. She has something about her. But just as a viewer, I saw zero chemistry between these two. Like when they were making out, I was like, this looks weird. They do not look like they're.
I thought it was a dream.
Exactly.
I thought for sure it was like he's going to wake up and be like, oh, I guess I'm still at Knives.
You're right. Because also another great editing thing, or like, I don't know what the right word is, but they would do a lot of cuts from like what's going on into his head into all of a sudden he's in this new place, which I thought was pretty clever. It's like they really skipped a lot of stuff like within those first like 20, 25 minutes, which I thought was a great kind of tool to use in the film. But yeah, it didn't see the chemistry really. I mean, I know they were out in the snow and she's showing him the door to their conscious or something like that, but I just didn't feel it, you know? So
what I did feel though was that band that was on. I love that band that comes on before them that like they sing a song about being really sad.
So sad, very sad. Oh, I know, those are the best.
I don't know why. And one thing I wanted to ask. In the band, you got Michael Cera, you got the lead singer, you got Allison Pill playing the drums. What's the other guy do? Is he just like the whole time just the backup bassist?
He's just the backup bassist. Young Neil.
Young Neil.
I really liked Young Neil, but I was like,
he's great.
That dude like a tambourine.
As an adult, because I saw this, obviously like 11 years ago when it came out, I thought the name Young Neil was funny. Now, as I'm older, the fact that they're all 22 and he's 20, so he's Young Neil is hilarious to me. Because it shows their ages at the beginning, and because he's 20 and not 22, he's Young Neil. And as an old, like now that I'm an adult, I'm like, that's hilarious. Because you would think like, oh man, you're such a baby. You're only 2 years young.
For sure.
Of course,
it's
just a baby.
He can't drink yet legally.
He can't, not legally.
No. So. Eventually, Scott breaks up with Knives just after she says she loves him, which made me really sad. But Ramona steals Scott away from band practice so they can hang out at his place and talk about how bad his breakup was again before going to a movie set. And Chris Evans is her ex. So it's fight time with number 2 and his stunt team. Scott is losing before he tricks Chris Evans into doing a rail grind into an explosion. What is life? But Scott's ex finds him at a coffee shop and she's getting jealous he's with someone new. So she invites him to a party. But not only that, she hires the band to open for her. Knives, on the other hand, isn't taking the breakup well, and she starts dating Young Neil. But number 3, I think at this point it is the original Superman, the old Superman. I don't know. Superman. Envy is jealous of Ramona, and number 3 punches Knives, and he uses his vegan strength to fight Scott Pilgrim. Scott tried to beat him in a base battle, but failed. So he used some trickery to get him to drink some milk and lose his vegan powers.
Half and half.
This scene, man. So there's a lot. There's obviously we're going to do some double backing here, but we got Chris Evans, we got Brandon Roth. But my favorite scene, I think, is when the vegan police show up.
The best.
And there's this great part right as they're leaving. They like jump and high five each other before getting into their vegan car. And it just cracked me up. I don't know, just they're so goofy and like, what are these guys doing here? But James, we'll start with you. Let's go with let's talk about Chris Evans here. I guess
and his great beard.
Yeah, I kept wondering because my wife turned. She's like, "Is that Chris Evans? Did he do this before Captain America?" And I'm not sure. I'm assuming he did, right? Or maybe he didn't.
I think
I'm
it
not
must have been right
sure.
around that time because Iron Man was
Yeah.
2008. This was 2010. So it must have
Yeah.
been very close.
Yeah, probably pretty close, right? Because I feel like Captain America came out. Actually, Captain America came out before the Avengers, which came out maybe 2012 or
Oh, I think it was. So it
maybe.
must
I
have been
could be
out.
wrong. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, and Captain America came out that same year. Yeah, Chris Evans was great. I want to get to this. I want to get to this Brandon Ruth or Routh. I don't know how you pronounce him.
Yeah.
That was
Superman.
probably my favorite ex-boyfriend because
Yeah.
I think up until that point, I'm not really familiar with his work. I had seen him in that Superman reboot, and that was good. He was actually pretty good in it, but they went another direction after that. But he seemed so committed to this character, and he was so vegan and judgmental.
It's perfect.
It was so perfect. It was funny. He was hitting all the comedic beats. As you said, and basically like explaining his veganisms while he's beating the crap out of.
I love how, yeah, and Brie Larson says basically, since he's vegan, he's better than you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so like, like kind of on the nose and real. Any of us have
Yeah.
like vegan friends.
Oh,
They
yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of, they're kind of walking on clouds. They always feel good. Their skin's
Did they
good.
mention like Vegan Academy or something like that too?
Yeah, that's why they broke up. Him and Ramona is because he had to leave to go to Vegan Academy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And the vegan police, that wasn't that like as you mentioned, Jack, that was so funny to see the vegan police show up. Because like I said, it's so real. They're personifying all these things when it comes to like how we diet and how we're kind of judging each other if we eat well and a friend of ours doesn't. I just thought that was great.
You know what I just realized too with the vegan police. Well, Thomas Jane was one of the
Yes.
guys in the vegan police. Thomas Jane was Punisher. Then you
Yes.
got Brie Larson as Captain Marvel.
Oh,
You got
man.
Superman Brandon Routh, and then you have Chris Evans Captain America. There's a lot
Yeah.
of superheroes in this movie.
There are, and funny enough, just random for me. Yeah, I love that Punisher. By the way, I almost picked it the year it came out. But the other guy, I can't remember his name. I just started watching Westworld, and he's in Westworld, and so I was like,
Oh
"Hey,
yeah,
that
Clifton
guy."
Collins.
Yeah, I know him as Lawrence at this point in Westworld, but and in any case, but what was kind of cool stylistically too is I'm not the world's biggest anime guy, but I could still see the anime reference of the way Superman was like floating around, his hair was sticking up like one of those
Like a
Dragon Ball
Super
Z
Saiyan.
guys and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, you could kind of see the references there, and the way he like punches a hole in the moon and things like that. You could see a lot of that visualistically reference there, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. And
yeah.
the fight with Chris Evans was so funny. I love that. So having the Chris Evans fight, his character is so funny. He looks. What is with him? Is it his eyebrows are weird, or is it weird? Because he looked like an evil Chris Evans.
He was a perfect evil Chris Evans, like with the eyebrows and the beard
And all his stunt doubles. It was just so fun. But I was like, man, Chris Evans is number 2. That was a lot of fun. The Brandon Routh one, number 3 with the vegan. I mean, those first 3 battles were amazing. So I'm like, we still got 4 more of these to go.
Yes.
They did a really good job of kind of having you excited about all that. And I do need to mention another person that's in this movie, Audrey Plaza. I thought she was just great. All of a sudden, she's in there.
We love Audrey Plaza. She's
great.
just great, whatever she does. But yeah.
Line of the movie to me though was Chris Evans when Knives go, or someone, I think it was Knives goes, "I'm such a big fan," and he goes, "Why wouldn't you be?"
That's a great line. I also like the vegan guy says he says chicken isn't vegan. they're like outing him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, because they said he had chicken parmesan.
Yeah, which was
the most anti-vegan thing.
It is. But it kept building because they accused him of like, going against veganism like twice. And they were like, okay, those are close. Like, okay, he cheated just a little. But then, they went to chicken parm. It's like, I mean, you can't. You got cow, you got chicken.
I loved also how the terrible one-liner from Michael Cera where he says, "You were a vegan." Now be
Be
gone.
gone.
And he's
Oh,
like,
God.
be gone before he gets
And he headbutts him to oblivion.
Yeah, I like Brown like,
Oblivion.
be gone.
Be
What?
gone.
Even he doesn't even get it. But I was heartbroken. I gotta say again, I was heartbroken for poor Knives. Right after says I love you, he's like, it's over.
And a lot of work. Like, it's like, is Knives really that bad? You want to fight 7 maniacs, or you just go and stay with the nice girl?
Yeah, dude, that is your biggest fan, as opposed to the other girl who probably wouldn't notice if you quit halfway through this adventure anyways.
She's gonna hook up with Chris Evans at some point again anyway.
Hey, you know, Knives is also kind of I didn't notice this before, but she plays a big part in showing to make the video game stuff, I guess, more believable, or him into the whole video game kind of lifestyle. You remember he's always playing games with her, right? Like that kind of that arcade game where they're like dancing and fighting and all that
Dance
kind of
Dance
stuff.
Revolution, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay, yeah, you know.
DDR.
Yeah, DDR, of course. Yeah, we all know.
Yeah.
DDR. Feel like a town elder from Footloose now.
Yeah.
You know, when those kids are playing those you know,
those video games, those TV games,
putting their tokens inside of the, you know. But yeah, that was such a thing, and a thing he shared with her. But yeah, as you said, he gets along so well with her. But also another thing established is he's kind of wishy-washy with his relationships, right? Because I think he used to date the Allison Pill's character. And then, you know, Aubrey Plaza. Can you imagine? I would love just to see a film with him and Aubrey Plaza together. You know, her deadpan.
Right. He's actually kind of smooth. Now
he is. He's kind of a ladies' man.
Yeah. How did that happen? I must need to talk about video games more, I guess. But so
Puckman.
You know?
Yes. Yeah, you really like that story.
Yeah. Ramona and Scott, they have a strain in their relationship. And Scott and Ramona, I guess they break up a little bit at Battle of the Brands. But before that, and Andy, I want to ask you this part. The fourth ex, Roxy, shows up, and there's this interesting scene where he won't, like, first Ramona fights her, but then Roxy says, you can't win, you can't fight me. He does. So Ramona is like miming for Scott Pilgrim by holding his hands and stuff. But eventually he has to do the dirty work, and he has to touch behind her knee, which is apparently a good spot for Roxy. So Andy, I want you to walk us through this sex scene.
Back of the knee, F'd in the B, something like that. And yeah, so this is played by Mae Whitman, who's his love interest maybe later or around this time in Arrested Development. So,
oh wow!
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I thought that was.
I always forgot about her in Arrested Development.
I have never seen Arrested Development. Please don't hate me, guys.
And you don't get that joke, James.
I don't.
No, that was actually
I feel so badly.
It was a good call by Andy and a clever response by me. I think
yeah,
this is very
yeah. Go watch it. Go watch it and learn that we're really smart there.
Yes, we're so funny.
Nice.
Yeah, she was a cool character, though. I thought that was another fun one. I'm like, oh man. So I really think the 7Xs, it's kind of like the Christmas Story, where you wait for the ghost of Christmas, past, present, future.
Future.
Yeah,
future's the bad one. You know, the bad one's coming.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, okay, this 7th one, and I was pretty sure it was going to be that Gideon character, but wasn't quite sure. I was really hoping it was kind of going to be like a Godzilla or something, but because it just kept coming, like this kept.
Oh, we kind of got that in the penultimate fight, a Godzilla-esque, right? The dragons.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that real quick. Scott and Ramona, they break up at the Battle of the Bands. The twins they're going against in the Battle of the Bands are also her two exes. It's a musical battle with dragons and gorillas. But what's important is we see Gideon, the final.
I'm sorry, you just saying it's a musical battle between dragons and gorillas. Okay.
But what's important? That's a sentence that you just said, Jack. I mean, love it. That's like the best sentence you've ever said.
If you've ever seen 70s van art, you know what a battle between dragons and gorillas look like. But yeah, that was
Ah.
it's crazy that wasn't the most important part of that scene.
Yeah, you just skimmed past that.
Well, we saw Gideon, who is the final X, and he's a record exec. And Poor Knives is there, and Ramona leaves Scott for Gideon. The band gets signed without Scott, and now his roommate is kicking him out. But Scott decides it's time for battle. Before we get into the end of this movie and that final battle, before we talk about any of that, James, why don't you talk us through this this battle of the bands, these twins, and kind of Gideon, by the way, so well cast. I'll let you talk about
He's
that
great.
as well.
Schwartzman.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, like I said, this battle of bands is fun. I mean, at this point, and it's kind of funny because at this point, there's kind of a repetitive nature of, okay, we get it with the fight and the music and this and that, but it's still like fun and full of energy. Yeah, with I guess the twins. At first, I thought they were like DJs. I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
were
That's what I
thinking
thought,
that, but
yeah.
yeah, but then obviously we saw like they had kind of the keyboards and stuff, and I guess they were kind of like keyboard DJs and stuff. But yeah, that was fun. And then I think, obviously Alison Pill, every time she's like, "We're sex baba or whatever,"
Yeah.
and the 1, 2, 3, it's always gets a lot of great energy there. Look, when Schwartzman's Gideon, when he
Yes.
comes out to them outside, and he's like, "Look, let's let bygones be bygones. I want to sign you guys." I'm like, "Okay, we're good. We're good. Take this. So obviously the lead singer, he signs it with the quickness, but it's like, just take the deal, keep it moving, okay?"
Yeah.
Because when we see Ramona later, like I said, she's at rest. This is for any like I don't know, guitar players and stuff, but she's literally at rest, the same vibe the whole movie. She may seem like she's unhappy at certain times, but I can't tell whether she's happy or happy. So just let her be with Gideon. At one point she tells him, doesn't she say like he knows her weak spots and or something like that? I don't know. Like, he always gets to me. And I'm like, okay, let me keep this moving.
One thing about the band I just thought was funny. I just remembered a line Michael Cera says. He says, all our shows are secret shows.
Yes.
But it's like, yeah, here you go. Now you got this guy that's going to give you a record deal. Go for it.
I was going to say with the bands, and James, to your point about the DJing thing, I was going to almost get mad. Like, what? You can't be in a battle of the bands if you're a DJ. That's a separate thing. I DJ, and I was like, nah, it doesn't count. You can't say you're in a battle of the bands. What are you going to
well, it's almost that. Please keep your point, but it's almost like, do you call yourself a musician if you're a DJ? There are some arguments for it, but I don't think so.
Nah.
But there are arguments for it. I'm just going to put that out there.
No, if you're, that's a different podcast. But
that's a whole other.
If you're playing it, you're not a musician, and I do it for a living. So,
and is this the part where Scott Pilgrim suddenly there's another Scott Pilgrim, like Mega Scott or something?
No. We'll get to that in a second.
We're not there.
Oh
yet.
Yeah, no, that's much.
That part's great.
So he beats that. I like that they kind of got these last two done quick, because at this point, I was enjoying it, but I was like, man, we got 2 more before the final battle. Like, so I was kind of like, oh, cool. They're just going to knock these out, kind of wrap up the battle of the bands thing. And James, I agree with you. I would have signed the contract and be like, look, Ramona, you're not even that into me. What are we doing here?
No, right. I'm about to achieve my dream at the age of 22. Yeah, let's keep it moving. Okay.
I'm about to achieve my dream at the age of 22, and I've already had to fight 6 people, not counting their stunt guards and everyone else. You're not worth it. You don't even seem like you're that into it. I'm moving on.
Yeah. He should have sat her down at least at one point and been like, hey, do you know what I'm doing here? Like, I'm fighting these exes. You're not really even giving me the time of day much. I mean, make me dinner at least.
Didn't even act very grateful about it. She's like, oh yeah, sorry about that.
Anyways,
good luck.
You want to go to the bar?
Me?
Like, what? Buy a guy a dinner first. Come on.
That's what I mean. She's like a shoulder shrug emoji the whole movie. If you'd imagine, they could have put a shoulder shrug emoji in there and just had like the mouth moving, like jib jab or something. She couldn't give 2 shizes. Okay. what he did as far as fighting her ex-boyfriends. I'm sorry, her exes. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you think she doesn't care that she doesn't care. He just fought 6 guys so far. She's shrugging off and barely wants to stay with him. How interested is she going to be year 10 on their anniversary when he gets her a silly gift that wasn't what she really wanted? This is just a doomed relationship, guys. Come on. I'm so angry about this.
Yeah, and I feel like he's got that in his back pocket forever, though. She's like, he never cuddle with me anymore. He's like, I fought 7 of your exes. Do you remember this?
Right. To the death, I should say.
Matthew Patel is dead.
Right.
Because of me. Thank you. You're welcome very much.
There's an army of stuntmen who are dead because of me.
That vegan guy, they got to find a new bassist now.
Yeah. So Scott goes to battle Gideon, and he uses the power of love to fight off wave after wave of Gideon's people. And soon eventually Gideon has Scott on the ropes. Knives shows up to take on Ramona, and after realizing he cheated on both of the girls, Gideon runs Scott through. But he has a second life, so he does it all over again. And this time he uses the power of self-respect to kill Gideon, admit he was wrong about how he handled things with knives. And the fight continues with everyone ganging up and beating up Gideon and kicking his head right off of his body. And of course we get a Nega Scott shows up. But at the end of the day, everyone lives happily ever after. Andy, wrap up this movie for us. How did you feel it came together?
The main thing is it's Nega Scott or Mega?
I caught that too, but I wasn't gonna say nothing. Is it Nega? That would be so much better. Nega, like Nega.
I think it was Nega.
Oh, really? I thought it was Mega.
No, I'm pretty sure it was. And I'm gonna look it up. I'm googling it right now.
An evil Scott. I don't even know.
Yeah, but that was
it is. It's Nega Scott.
Oh wow,
that was just such perfect.
Like
oh, maybe like negative.
Scott.
Like, yeah. Okay, that's kind of
careful.
Cool. Yeah, careful. I know. I feel like what's his face? What's my man to play Black Panther? Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
He was in this movie called 16. He was in some New York movie before he unfortunately passed. But some guy was saying something about, this guy's got a trigger finger. And in the preview, he's like, look, you better have perfect diction when you use that word around me.
Yeah. but it was such a perfect like Michael Cera thing, like just to have him have his evil self. He would get along with his evil self, like, hey man, right. Oh hey, and they like
we're gonna have brunch.
I just thought that was so funny.
Yeah, like I said, he's actually a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, that was nice.
But again, poor Knives. Even at this point, I felt like go with Knives. Knives is the one you want to be with. Come on. But
I thought when Knives, it came out, I guess before I guess he got stabbed through the heart, right? And then he had to get his one up or his extra life. I thought that we were coming to when you look at the timestamp, there's more time, but like, oh, perfect. She's going to come in and save the day and he's going to come to his senses, but it's, poor Knives. That's kind of what you're thinking the whole time, and if that's what they were going for, they really achieved that. I can't see why you could watch that movie and be like, oh yeah, I want him with Ramona Flowers instead of her.
I'm glad you said that because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, I don't even want him to be with Ramona. He should be with Knives at the end. That'd be like the good ending. You're like, oh yeah, he did all that, but in the end, she's not the right one for him.
You notice in this movie, just about everyone ends up brokenhearted except for Scott Pilgrim and Ramona, I think, because you go through and it's like the drummer had her heart broken. Aubrey Plaza had her heart broken by Scott at one point.
Anna Kendrick's boyfriend left her for Kieran Culkin.
That's right.
Which is not impossible.
We haven't talked enough about Kieran Culkin. Yeah.
Yeah. So funny. She lost her boyfriend. Brie Larson lost her vegan boyfriend to death. Knives ended up brokenhearted.
They lost their record deal. I mean, I know they got all those coins, but still,
Right.
like they're gonna go through that. Like it's again like a year
Yeah.
or two.
I mean, how far are those Canadian coins?
Yeah, how far are they gonna go?
Did
Like, they
young
can't
Neil-
retire.
What about young Neil and Knives? They were kind of like, sort of.
She was only
Maybe.
doing it to get back at Scott, though.
Nah.
And be close to him at all
Yeah,
times. Right?
I was a little disappointed. Not like I like the movie was good, but there was that little like, but what about Knives just got kicked around the whole movie
Yeah,
and
she
never really
did.
had a moment of like she should have been the one that unlocked self-respect, I think, at the
Yes.
end and beat up everybody. And like
Yeah.
she should have beat up everybody and then been like deuces or whatever. I don't know.
She should have
Like,
her own movie.
Yeah, because at the very end too, and I think we've gotten to that. Your essence that,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
when she and after, like I say, after Nega Scott is, after they come out, he's like, oh yeah, he's cool. We're gonna have brunch, and Ramona's like, you should. I think I'm quote unquote, but she's like, you should be with Knives. I'm gonna keep it moving. Right.
Yeah.
I gotta, I'm gonna go do this. Obviously, everywhere I go, this is the kind of stuff I cause. And then Knives is like, no, well, actually, after all of this, I think you should be with Ramona.
She's way too cool.
And I'm just kind of, putting my face planting my head. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I guess that's the perfect ending for Scott. But still, what is it? I mean, I know he fought all these people. So it's like, I feel like it's sunken cost. He's putting all his time and energy into this girl. But he's just going to keep sinking his cost. She's like an expensive boat that doesn't give a crap about him. It's not worth it.
He's going to say that at the wedding for his toast. Ramona, you were just a sunken cost, and makes sense to finish this out. But by the way, the nerve of her after he beats everybody, after he gets through all 7 and frees her of like mind control from Gideon, she's like, maybe it's not going to work out between us. Goodbye.
Which is still suspect. I don't know if she was really under mind control.
Yeah, what this lady? I don't know. I was not happy.
That would be actually even more you could buy it more if like her personality completely changed after they took off that mind control thing.
Yeah.
And now she's like a bubbly but then it would be weird, right? Because it's like 5 minutes left in the film.
Yeah,
weird.
I just was not. I felt very bad for Knives. Justice for Knives. That's what I.
There you
go.
Start the hashtag, man. Seriously.
Oh, that was another thing that aged. By the way, I wanted to add. When Scott's sister says, I'm going to spread the news and start a big group text, as opposed to saying, I'm going to tweet it or, put it up on social media. She said she's going to text everybody, which I thought was interesting, but
let you know how much has changed, right? I mean, 10 years is a long time, but I mean, even 3-4 years ago, some things would be different. You know what I mean? From now. The references about how social media is used and here and there and all that other good stuff.
Yeah.
So,
that does it for Scott Pilgrim this week. Now, Andy, do you have a Kevin Bacon? This one's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Well, you guys just mentioned her. It seems to always happen. Anna Kendrick was in this movie. Anna Kendrick's in a movie called Up in the Air, which she was nominated for an Oscar for with George Clooney.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. That's a good movie.
George Clooney is in Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13 with Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt was in a movie called Sleepers.
Oh wow,
also
spoiler.
had Kevin Bacon in it.
Spoiler. Didn't know that.
Wow, Sleepers. That's crazy. I forgot all about Sleepers.
Need to review that movie.
Yeah, we definitely do.
Now we have to. So that does it for 2010. Andy, what are we watching for 2011 next week?
2011, we're gonna watch Bridesmaids.
Oh, Bridesmaids.
That'll be a fun one. A lot of good laughs in that one. That was a big deal when it came out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a huge hit. Yeah.
A lot of because at the time it was kind of like the Ocean's 11 of female comedians, like all coming together. It was the Expendables of female comedians.
Yeah, I don't think a movie with that many like it was basically like mostly female cast and like
Yeah.
comedic sense was like that was like kind of the first kind of movie like that. And they started releasing more films, but that was the first one. It was a huge hit, and that's when we all got introduced to Melissa McCarthy and her comedic brilliance.
Yes, and her physical comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
So that would be a really fun one to go revisit. 2012, James, what are we watching for that one in 2 weeks?
Man, we're taking that Denzel train, you know, and we're doing a nice Denzel and Ryan Reynolds action flick called Safe House.
I'm excited for this one because I think I've seen it, but I don't remember it at all. So I'm eager to see it. Denzel Washington, I'm going to say this every time we bring him up. Best walk in the game.
Man. My man. He's got that best. He's got that walk, man, and he knows
business.
He walks like he knows he's got that walk. It's like it's almost as important. You know, in Tom Cruise films, he always has to run. Like it's always running, and I feel like in all Denzel films, you got to get a shot of me. You know, just walking away. You know,
walking.
You know?
Right? And you're like, dang, so smooth.
He's so smooth, man.
So cool. I mean, he might not even be a good actor. He just walks, and then the spell is cast. And
exactly. He might be speaking gibberish after that, but you're just like eating out of the palm of his hand,
right? Because he walked. So now I'm just like, Denzel. So after that, we go to 2013 in 3 weeks, and this one you're gonna watch World War Z, starring Brad Pitt, who is in Sleepers.
Nice. Keep Andy's job very simple.
I know. I was thinking that for my next pick. I'm like, what was Kevin Bacon in 2014?
So a very wide variety of movies we're going to be watching in the next 3 weeks. Bridesmaids, Safe House, and World War Z. I think that does it for us, though. But before we go, Andy, where can the world find you online?
Yeah, the world can find me at Just Andy Rossi.
And Chris Bosch, where can the world find you?
Yes, you can find all my Chris Boshness at JShippy2 on Twitter and at JEShippy2 on Instagram.
And my name is Jack. You can find me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. That does it for 2010 Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Make sure to tune in next week as we talk about 2011's Bridesmaids. That's it. That's the show. We're wrapping it up.